Here we are. Hey, my buddies are joining me today. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Self-Publishing Insiders. I'm Jim Azevedo, and with me today, I'm happy that a couple of my buddies are joining me here today. We've got Megan Spann, the promotions coordinator at Draft Digital. Yay!
Hi.
And Mark Leslie, the fave, who's on a road trip. Sorry to interrupt your road trip, Mark. But Mark,
Hey, I'm flying down the Trans-Canada Highway. Where else would I want to be but hanging out with the two coolest people in publishing?
oh, geez, look at this. So we are kind of hoping and praying that, Mark and his driver get pulled over because that would be awesome. That would be so fun. So funny. But we're so happy that you all are joining us here today. I see some new names who are joining in the comments section. So for those of you who are new to Draft Digital Self-Publishing Insiders Show, we really appreciate you showing up. Welcome. Please post any comments or questions that you've got in the comments section, and we'll do our darndest to get to every single one of those as best as we possibly can. And for you old-timers who are joining us again, thanks you guys for showing up week after week after week.
What are you calling an old timer?
Hey, man, just sit back, relax, and don't interrupt Steve while he's driving. So today we're here to talk about DDD promotions and the promotions team. I was looking through my notes earlier, and I was shocked, Megan and Mark, that it has been almost a year to the day since we've had you both on to talk about the Draft Digital promotions team. So I thought we'd kind of reel it back and discuss, what exactly does the Draft Digital promotions team do? Can we start there to kind of lay the foundation?
Okay.
Would you mind starting, Megan?
Yeah, sure. So what I do, I facilitate the promos. So I take the information that's given to me and send that out, or I take suggestions given to me and we create something. I also run a lot of reports that I share with our partners. And from those reports, we also can kind of craft different things to help authors market their books. And it's all free. So
that's awesome. Now, of that information that's coming to you, Megan, where is that information coming from? Is that the retailers or library systems who are reaching out to you and saying, hey, we've got this merchandising opportunity coming up. Do you have any authors or books that could fit into it? Is that how it works? Can you kind of explain what happens exactly?
That's how it works. Sometimes it depends on how far ahead we are. Some of our partners may send me things for next year, right, like now, to be prepared for. Sometimes it's last minute, and I get something on Tuesday, and they say, I need this Friday.
Oh, I bet you love those last minute ones.
I love them to death. And then sometimes it is me presenting something to them. Hey, this group of authors got together and they're all going to discount to $2.99 for the month of June. What can we do with this? So I have some flexibility with the different opportunities.
Okay. Now that's really interesting that you can go to some of our partners and say, we have this thing coming up. How receptive are the retail and library partners when you do come to them and you say something like that, like, hey, I've got this group of authors who are doing this anthology, or they're putting together this box set? Are the retailers and library partners open to that sort of thing?
Some of them are. And the ones that are, I just keep pushing and trying different things. So whereas I may say, hey, I have this thriller group, and they're like, no, we don't really have a lot of thrillers. Okay, what do you have, or what do you want that I can try to find something for? I try to make sure I maximize every opportunity, and that no conversation is just a dead end. So if that doesn't work, well, what will work? Give me some feedback so that I can then go create something that will work.
I love that you're out there going to bat for the authors week in and week out for this kind of thing. Megan, get him, Megan, get him. Today, I want to try to get to some comments and questions early because, as we all know, I'm guilty for talking too much. Okay, let's just say that and not get into the questions and comments early enough in these conversations. So let me go back up here. I saw a couple of them floating in already. Let me pop up this one, you guys. I want to see if you can answer this question from 86 Wave. Thank you for this comment and question. 86 Wave says, Can you share a recent success story of an author who used DDD tools to explode their readership and what they did right?
The stories that I can think of, it is with the authors that are prepared. We have some opportunities that come our way that I don't send out emails for, and I reach out to the community in different ways to try to fill that need.
Yeah.
So the ones that are the most successful that I've found are the ones who are ready. And that's not always easy to do. For me, I wouldn't be ready on a lot of things because I'm like, what's my author bio? I don't even have because I'm not organized all the time. Yeah. Recent success stories. I think the most successful here recently has been in a library, a library opportunity that we were able to facilitate with one of our partners. That for that particular author, it's a big thing. It's a big thing to us because we don't get a lot of those opportunities for the libraries. So some things, in order to kind of rate the success, a lot of them are one-offs. So we're trying to make sure that we can continue to facilitate things so that we can track as well with what is successful and how. And so when I see certain things trending, Mark will reach out, I will reach out. Hey, what did you do? What made this happen? Some of them may have newsletters. They may have had a TikTok or something go viral. Putting yourself out there in the ways that you are comfortable is how I would say is what I have found to be the most successful.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good answer. I remember that, I think it was last year, we were talking about, I believe it was Hoopla. There was an author who really wasn't getting much traction. And then one of you put her into the Hoopla. Hoopla had a promotion going, and that person's books just went, it took off from like, I think it was maybe 10 downloads to like, was it in the hundreds or something like that? Mark, you're nodding. Was that about right?
Yeah, this is an author who I think was maybe, if they were lucky, selling maybe 3 or 4 books a month to Hoopla prior to the promo. And we got them in a special promo where they agreed to let the libraries have their books for free for a full month, book 1 in a series. And then they went to selling hundreds of copies of the books in the series during that post promo. They call it the halo effect, right, Megan?
Mm-hmm. Okay. It stretches throughout the series.
Yeah. And then still that, and even once it settled down, they had originally sold 2 or 3.
Mark, I'm gonna step in because you're cutting out a little bit, buddy.
Just a little.
Okay. Backcountry roads, I guess, right?
Yeah, there's a song in there somewhere with their backcountry roads. I'm going to get to Linda's question here. Sorry about that, Linda, for the delay. Linda asks, hi, I know policy is 1 book per promo, but would you consider allowing the first 2 books in a series to go on sale? Is that something we decide, Megan, or is that
no? And I have had emails, some nice, some not, of like, well, why can't I do it? I don't make the rules. We are partnered with these companies. And let me also say that, just to give an example, I'll use Smashwords as an example. Let's say Smashwords says, Megan, we're running this sale and you have 10 slots that you can fill. Well, it wouldn't be fair for me to allow more than 1 book. I have such a small pool that I can submit.
Okay.
They may give those rules to me, but they gave Mark, who has his own publishing company, they gave Mark different rules. They have a different contract with Mark. So Mark maybe can submit the first 2 books. Those aren't the rules they set for me. So I have to follow the rules that are provided to me. However, with that being said, a lot of our partners they don't want your permafreeze because that's not a deal. It's already free. But what you can do is submit book 2. In the notes, most of the time, you have an opportunity to tell me things. Hey, I'm submitting book 2. This is part of my series, and book 1 is free. That's helpful. Well, now you have the ability to have those 2 books get attention without necessarily submitting both books, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
How often do these promos come up, Megan? Like, are there promos running right now? Are there promos running for next week? Like, how often are you sending out emails to our authors?
It ebbs and flows.
Okay.
I have seen a cutback with some of our partners as they have made changes, and those things aren't within my control. As of right now, we have had 21 official promos between our partners, with Kobo leading the way with 9 so far. And those are just the kind of official ones that I send out an email for. That's not including the other things that they may send me emails for and say, hey, we need a list of this. At this point, I think I've had maybe 6 of those. So I send them out a lot.
Yeah.
So like this week, I haven't sent anything. But next week, there's plenty to come out. So make sure that you're on the promo list so that you don't miss any of them. And it ebbs and flows depending on the season, depending on what's coming up. So right now we're kind of going to that summer. People are trying to get the last of those sales out before we jump into the fall. So that's what I'm looking for right now, some more summary reads.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about how authors can participate, because I'm assuming that there might be some of our viewers out there who are like, well, okay, I want to know about some of these promotions that are coming up from your retail and library partners. How does an author go about finding that out?
Right now, it's a very manual process.
Okay.
So I know some authors was like, well, I looked on my dashboard and I didn't see it. It's not there yet. My hope and desire is that it will be there, because that makes it easier for you, makes it easier for me. So you have to use our form, and that form is twofold. You can use it once to get on the list, which means that you signed up, you agreed to receive these emails, whatever comes up, I send it. 2, you can also use that form to give me your bookish news. Hey, Megan, I just had a new release. I had it on pre-order and I sold 1,000 copies. Give me your bookish news, because I do look at it and I do use it when I'm trying to fill those last minute opportunities that come up. Oh, I have a book that is Dutch or something, which I have had happen. I remembered one of our authors from like my first year, which was 2022, at a conference. She mentioned that she had a Dutch title. I don't get promos asking for Dutch, but an opportunity came up with one of our partners that needed Dutch. So so use the form. Tell me those things. Even if you don't see a promo for it, use it. I may think of something, or you may suggest something. I'm like, well, I do have enough Dutch authors that I may run something special and see what happens. A lot of my job is let's see what happens. So
I love that, because that allows us to be creative and be experimental, and maybe push things over the line that we think may not have that great of a chance of succeeding, but it actually does.
Yes.
I'm so happy that we're talking about. Go ahead, Mark.
If I don't drop off, Megan made a point earlier, and I want to reiterate it because I think it's so important, and it ties into exactly what you just said. And I really want to underline this for authors, is those authors who are prepared. Go and fill out the form and tell her about your books, because you may tell her something really intriguing, and serendipity is the most beautiful thing. Like, I'm going to be at the American Library Association conference at the end of June. I'm going to be listening to librarians and probably pinging Megan all the time saying, oh my God, the librarians are interested in this, this, and this. Do you have anything? And Megan will go back to the forum and search through it and look for things. So for example, Guillaume, right? Regular Guillaume, who I know writes erotic comedy and the French language, I'm assuming. So if, Biblio, one of our partners in France, who's maybe looking for erotic comedy for a special feature, and we're like, oh my God. And like, who wrote that? Because I heard someone mention it during one of our broadcasts. If Guillaume hasn't filled out the form, we may not remember. Like, who was that who wrote that genre? So filling out those forms is really doing yourself a favor, because when Megan's scrambling, this happens all the time. Like earlier this week, we got a request from Overdrive for something very specific where we have to reach out to authors, and that doesn't come out in a form, but it does come out because maybe somebody filled out a form and told us about something they wrote, and then that contracted. So basically doing that work yourself does help us help you. And it may not help right away, but it's beautiful when it can happen.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. I'm going to bring up this comment here from Avis, who says, where do we find this promo form? And it was just on the screen, Avis.
Just send $50 to Mark.
I'm going to bring it back up, and then maybe Lexi or Alyssa can add it to the comments section as well. And in case you missed it, here's the promo form there on the screen, and I won't spell it out because it's kind of a mouthful when you say HTTPS : blah, blah, blah. But there it is for everybody. I also wanted to kind of reiterate something that both Mark, you and Megan sort of mentioned, but I want to underscore it because it seems like every year still, every time I go to a conference, which isn't as often as Mark, but when I go to conferences, I still have authors who ask, who say things like, we know you guys help us with, publishing and distributing our books, but do you help us do anything with promotions? And we're like, to us, we think everybody knows it, but so many of our authors don't know that we have this promotions team, that we work with the merchandising managers behind the scenes to get your books more visibility. So when you fill out the promotions form, one of the things I love about Megan is she always says, hey, whenever you're talking to an author and they're filling out the promotions form, make sure they err on the side of giving me too much information. Like, tell us all those little nitty-gritty details. She also wants to know things like, have you won awards for your books in the past? Who are your co-authors? And Megan, I'm assuming that when you pitched that, I don't know if it was an anthology or a box set to that retailer or to that library system, that author told you who all was involved through the promotions form.
Yes, they were prepared. This is everything. This is our media sheet. I already had the cover. I already knew what they were doing on what days to also help themselves promote. You can't just, that's another thing. One, yes, these promos are free. Mm-hmm. Two, that does not mean that you are guaranteed sales. You do have to do some additional work to make sure that this gets in front of your audience. You can't just click a button and go and say, well, I should be rich by next week. If it worked like that, all of my books would be the number ones then. So you still have to do the work. Absolutely.
Okay, so how do the authors find out what that work is? So you inform them that their titles have been accepted into the promo, and then do you reach out to them and say, here are the additional steps that the partner is asking for, or here are the additional pieces of information that the partner is asking for?
It depends on the partner. Okay. Some partners, they just send me a link and said, here, girl, send it to them. Now, what the authors do with it, they may put it in their newsletter. They can share it in their Facebook, tell TikTok, tell Instagram, tell whoever you want to. Some of them will send me a whole media thing back and say, we want them to put their cover here. We want them to use this language, tag this account. So it varies. The main thing is be prepared for anything. As much, like you said, give me more than what is necessary so that it's the back and forth. Sometimes I may have a partner that they don't mind a correction and say, hey, they may have an error here. Can you get them to fix that? I may have time like that. Or I've had them say, we accepted this, but now we don't want it. There's an error there. We don't have time. So making sure that you're on top of things is I can't push that enough.
Here's a softball question for you guys. How important is it for those authors to read your emails when you tell them that their book has been accepted?
That's going to make a break.
You don't have to read.
Few things. You please. And I've gone through different iterations with the different emails that I send to try to make it easier for the authors, make it easier for me, such as if you have an issue, tell me what promo, take a screenshot. What book are you even trying to submit? What's the price? And I started doing that because I realized I was wasting so much of my time with the back and forth. Hey, Megan, my book, I couldn't submit it. What book? The book of the green clarinets. Okay, to what promo? I sent out 5. What? I don't know which one. So to cut down on all of that, when you have an issue, give me everything. And all of that is detailed in the emails that I send. Or I run into situations where authors like, my books aren't even coming up. What's going on? I've been distributing. I've been doing. You delisted that book last year and you went direct. So you may be publishing with that particular entity, but you're not doing it through Draft to Digital. So that's why. So making sure that you, one, read everything, because your book may not be eligible. And sometimes it's because you have the wrong category. It could be a lot of different reasons, but how we can get from point A to point B is to make sure you read the emails thoroughly. Those are very important.
There are deadlines and all kinds of different.
Yes, and some are negotiable and some are not. So being prepared and paying attention to those things can kind of make or break a few different things.
And then, Megan, how often do you have to chase down an author who is on the verge of missing an opportunity to be like maybe on a banner at one of the retail sites, and you're awaiting their response, but you're not getting it? I mean, do you have the bandwidth to chase these authors down, or do you have to say, sorry, like you didn't follow the directions and I have to move on and go to the next author?
Most of the times I have to move on. It depends on the partner and what they're asking for. Now, there are some that I'm like, if I'm desperate to like, okay, can somebody make sure that they're looking at their emails? I may ask you all, do any of you know this author? Is there a different method we can use to reach out to them? I've reached out to authors on Facebook, or I'll hop in your DMs on TikTok if the video comes up and I'm like, hey,
chasing
you
people
check
down.
your email? So yeah, I will chase up to a limit, but if you are an author that I constantly have to chase, I have asthma. I can't keep chasing you.
No one's got time for that. Nobody's got time for that. Can we talk about so there's some authors who are going direct. So, our authors use us to publish wide, to go everywhere, to save them tons of time, to make their lives easier when it comes to distribution.
Mm-hmm.
But some authors, they want to go direct because they're of the mind that they can participate more easily if they publish direct in some of the promotions that retailers like Kobo might have. What is the difference between the promotions that we can offer versus the promotional capabilities of the partners? Like, have you guys heard differences from some of the authors out there who maybe have come back to Draft to Digital after going direct? What's your take on that?
Access and rules is what I will say. Every opportunity that Kobo sends to me, you may not see it on your dashboard if you're direct. Same thing, vice versa. You may see things on your dashboard. I'm like, well, Kobo didn't tell me about that, because again, it's what we are partnered with and what applies to what they send and what they accept. Now, I have certain parameters that I have to work within with varying partners, whereas they may click a button and say, hey, the first 50 is what we're going to take. I have to be a lot more strategic about what I send. So I'm looking a lot closer. I'm checking the social media. I'm making sure that you have done the things. So with us, you have a more personalized experience of a person putting their eyeballs on something than something, an algorithm just kind of picking, or maybe a team of people picking. But you have, I would say, I feel like you have a better opportunity because I'm intentional about how I choose to run the promos. So if you got it this month for this particular partner, maybe next month we don't do this same book. Maybe you submit something else, or you don't get it this next month, and it's a whole new group of authors that have never had a promo before. And I look for that intentionally to make sure that everybody can have an opportunity to get visibility somewhere.
Yeah, that's what we're about. We're trying to not just, uplift the same names over and over and over again. We want to give all you guys as much of an opportunity for exposure as we possibly can.
And that's one of the other reasons, I think, just if I can add, Jim, sometimes like limited to one title per promo. And that's because we want to give more authors a choice, not just the same 50 authors all the time. Right? I mean, there's one thing I know Megan and I love more than anything is finding that author that hasn't had a huge success yet and helping readers discover them. That is just magic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, especially when we can see that the author is a fantastic writer. They've got excellent cover art, and we can see them busting their tails online and promoting them, like doing all the things. And we know it's just a matter of time before that author, gets to that next level. And selfishly, I can tell you, and I'm sure you guys would agree, that when we meet authors who are fledgling and they're just starting to, get out there, maybe publish their first couple of books, and then we see them in 6 months or even a year from now starting to break out, it's the best feeling in the world. That's why we all love our jobs so much.
Absolutely.
Okay. Beth here says, is Megan saying she can't read our minds? How strange. I thought she could. Ha ha.
I can a little bit, but it's scary in there. So just make it easy for me.
I was going to say, Beth, yeah, don't, you might want to hide a little bit. She can read minds. Oh my goodness. Okay. I'm going to quickly do a quick scan on some of these comments here. And come back over here to my questions. Here's a good question I almost forgot about. And I think you've touched on this already a bit, Megan, but what are some of the most common mistakes you see authors make when it comes to the promotions form, let's say?
Not picking a different price. It's not on sale if it's already $4.99 and you choose $4.99. Now, we do have some promos where it's like, you don't have to change the price. This is a feature. So whatever your price is, keep it. And I make sure that it's clear that you don't have to change the price. But most often, that's the first thing I look at. When I'm looking at my list and I pull everything, I go through my filters and I match up the prices. Your original price, the sale price. If they are the same, you don't pass go, you don't collect anything, you didn't follow directions. The retailers check and they send stuff back to me sometimes and like, we can't take this for this reason or that reason. So the price, I would say, is the biggest thing. And then next would be your genre, the categories, the BISAC, whatever you want to call it, is how people can find your book. Okay. I have a YA book and it's not coming up. You don't have it categorized properly. And if you don't have it categorized properly, it won't come up. I won't see it. And if I go searching for things to feel, like I said, those last minute opportunities, you now won't be eligible because you don't know your target audience as well as you may think you do. You may need to go back and address that to make sure that your book is actually where it needs to be found by your readers.
Okay. That's a really good comment. And it goes back again to like, hey, follow those directions. You read those instructions closely, bit by bit by bit. Today is flying by already. So we're almost at 12:30 Central Time. I want to make sure we get to a very big promotional opportunity coming up next month. And that is the July Smashwords Summer Winter Super Sale that's coming up at the Smashwords store. Every year there are 3 annual Smashwords Super Sales every year at the Smashwords store. The July Summer Winter Sale, it's winter in the Southern Hemisphere, summer here in the Northern Hemisphere. This is a month-long sale. It lasts the entire month of July. And for those of you who don't know, sometimes I feel like a broken record. Our younger listeners and viewers won't know what that means for saying we're a broken record. But sometimes I feel like a broken record when I say that you may not realize that the Smashwords store has been growing year over year over year. We completed our 8th consecutive year of sales growth. And the last annual sale that we had was the first week of March this year. It was the Read an Ebook Week sale. And that sale broke records from last year. What we're seeing now is there are more books that are being uploaded to these sales. That's bringing in more readers. The last sale that we did, there were more new to Smashwords readers in that sale than ever before. And there were also more readers who were coming back to the Smashwords store. So that's just my way of letting you know that these Smashwords sales really, really work. So with that said, day 1 of the July sale starts on July 1st. For those of you who are currently drafted digital authors, look for an email alerting you to enrollment opening up within the next couple of weeks. You'll see those in your email inboxes. And by all means, consider signing up for the Smashwords store super sale because we're going to help you promote that. We want more visibility on your books. We want to see you get more sales. What do you think, Megan and Mark? Do these sales work? These Smashword sales?
They can if you do the work. Again, you can't just sit it and forget it. You actually have to do some additional legwork to make sure that I know who you are, your readers know who you are. And just as a side note to absolutely anybody who uses our platform, I can't think of a single reason why you are not distributing to Smashwords. That is our store. That is the store where I have the most power to do things on a dime. With our partners, I have to work within their parameters. With Smashwords, if I feel like today making a new shelf about basketballs and balloons, I can. So make sure that you are actually distributing to that store, and then we can work on the back end to maybe figure out, okay, what's going wrong marketing wise. And Mark and I both have sat with authors and said, let's look at it. What do we have going on here? So utilize your resources. That's the way these sales are impactful to me.
Yeah, these are all collaborative sales too. We've seen the most success for authors who partner up with their author friends and promote each other's books, because this is not just a sale, it's like a celebration of indie ebooks, indie authors, and indie readers. You know, the readers who love finding the next diamond in the rough and help breaking out these next authors. So it is a collaborative effort.
I mean, simple things as well as you have an author newsletter. If you, for example, when I do the promo, we have the choice of what discount we want. I usually will just make all my books 75% off, and some of them are going to be free. I'll send that out to my newsletter and say, hey, for the entire month of July, in the Smashword store, which is available in more countries around the world than Amazon, you can get almost my entire catalog that I have the rights to, not the traditionally published ones. You can get them for 75% off. And so it's like taking that little extra step just to help yourself is really important, because you can help people discover your stuff, and you make more margin on the Smashword store. We actually give you more margin because it's our store. So I think at the lowest end, I think you're making 72%, something like that, like on a 99-cent book, and then I think you can make upwards of 81, 82%. And it's not dependent upon the price of your book; it's dependent upon the shopping cart. So your 99-cent book, if it's in a shopping cart with 20 other 99-cent books, you're going to be making 82% on that. So it's quite generous as well.
Yeah, good point, Mark. Thank you for that. Bring up a quick comment and question here from Flapper Girls Shabby Chick. Love the screen name. She says, I have a book coming out shortly. Do you guys recommend reducing the first book in the series already published, or give it for free and reduce the next 3?
I have a love-hate relationship with that kind of question.
Okay.
Mainly because I don't know, what does your audience want? That's where understanding your audience comes in key factor, because I can say, make it free. My audience for the books that I write, I know they may be receptive to that. Other genres, they may not. So unfortunately, there is no one size fits all. You really do have to test out methods at least long enough to know, okay, this does not work for my target audience. So I do recommend making the book free. See what happens. Maybe you get a lot of downloads. Does the next book make any type of movement? Maybe you make it 99 cents instead. You really have to try out things that work for your audience, because it's not a one size fits all, unfortunately.
Megan, would you ask a question like that to your readers? Or if you did ask a question like that to your readers, like in a newsletter, like, will they just all say free? Oh, no, yeah, we want your book for free. Is that even
not my
asking?
readers?
Yeah, really?
Because I'm Black. I write characters that are Black, and for the demographic that I have within my books, because it's already, we're the least recognized. We don't want it. They may accept it for free. Of course, it's free, but the support that you get, that I get from my community, is we want to see you make money. We want to support you financially. So maybe I don't make it free, but I make it 99 cents. And they're like, yeah, go girl, go. And I still get the pennies that I'm owed. Whereas for me, I don't participate necessarily in free, because it's a different audience for the people that are deliberately looking for free books, and those that see the opportunity because it's once in a while, as opposed to those that they follow a certain author because they know what their marketing strategy is.
Okay. Yeah. So if I'm hearing you, consider a discount on the first book in the series to drive read through for, books 2 and beyond.
And track your results.
Can I add another thought about that? I know from industry stats that most people who will download a free book to their Kindle, Kobo, Nook, whatever it is, never open it.
Yeah.
Therefore, even if so what I often advise writers, particularly, okay, so let's say book 1 is $4.99 and book 2 and book 3 are $4.99 because that's your standard price. And I would even consider potentially raising that depending on the market and the genre of what you're writing, and take a look at what's out there. So you're not undervaluing your books. That's very important. But maybe a temporary price drop on book 1. And then that way, when you're applying for those promos, like Megan said, it's regularly $4.99, but I'm dropping it temporarily to 99 cents for this Kobo promo or whatever. And when you do drop your price, you're required to drop it everywhere. So why not, in addition, go to a place like writtenwordmedia.com and then book, hey, it's 99 cents. So I'm going to book a promo for it. And then that can get some of that sort of, I guess, that anticipation or the limited time offer. So, know, at the end of June, it's going back up. So you have to get it now if you want to take advantage of it. And then the other thing, Flapper Girl said for the question, make sure there's a call to action at the end of that. We'll link to book 2, potentially linking to your author web site or newsletter. Those are so important. Not just making it free or cheap, but making sure that they know what to do after they finish your book and love you.
Yes.
Yeah. Great point, Mark. Great point. Okay, we've got, just under 10 minutes left. I'm scanning the questions again. I'm scanning the comments. I'm trying to be so conscious of that so that I don't miss anybody's questions or anything. Hey, Megan, do you think we have the same amount when it comes to promotions that you send out? Is it roughly the same when it comes to, let's say, retailer promotions versus library promotions? Is it about the same?
No. Well, no. But the upside of that is, like I said, I have front-facing promos, and then I have opportunities where they're asking me for something very specific, and we want you to pick from a certain pool of authors and talk to them. So based on that, they can kind of match up as far as what the amount that I'm getting. But for the most part, I kind of have my top 3 contenders, and the rest, it is more behind the scenes transactional that we're working with as far as promoting the books of what they're asking for.
Okay, thank you for that. Bring up another question here from 1977 SP. Question is, while releasing a book, what would be an ideal period for promotion? Week, month? I could say from my experience, I've seen authors go as long as a year in promoting their pre-orders, because retailers out there, Apple Books, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, I think Como, all of them allow you to have a pre-order for up to 12 months. And with the pre-order, it kind of helps you build excitement and buzz and anticipation among your reader set. And then on the day of your release, it's like you can have this accumulation of all these pre-orders and your new sales all hitting on day 1, and that can cause a spike in your sales rankings. So I would encourage anybody who has an upcoming book to try to, build a runway to help build that buzz and excitement. The longer you can do that, the more anticipation and excitement among your readers you can build. And then it's up to you and your creativity to think, like, let's say I've got a book coming up in 3 months. What can I do every week or every couple of weeks to keep this upcoming release front and center in the minds of my readers to help you accumulate those pre-orders?
Yeah, I would say at least a month. Now, I have been known to do a pre-order for like a week, but that's me. And what my goals are, I would say at least a month if you have the intentions of reaching out to different entities. Give me as much heads up as possible, because again, certain things I can do on, the drop of a dime, and then other things our partners want as much notice as possible. because some of them really eat up those pre-orders and they want to know in as much time as possible to how they can better prepare to push this author. So I would say at least a month, but that can vary depending again on you, your goals, and your audience.
Okay, good answer. Thank you for that. And thank you for the question, 1977 SP.
Yes.
I hope that helped answer your question. Okay, we got about 5 minutes left and kind of going through. I want to remind everybody as I'm going through the comments and questions here, again, so next month is the Smashwords month-long summer-winter sale. So keep an eye on your inbox for emails coming from Drafted Digital to tell you guys that, hey, enrollment's open. Make sure that you got your books in that sale. Something else to tell you about. We have another promotion coming up. We're still working out the details of this. But for those of you who are interested in publishing a paperback print-on-demand book through Drafted Digital Print, through DDD Print, we're going to have a summer-long DDD invitational where we're going to be randomly selecting authors who have published a new print-on-demand book. We're going to be randomly selecting some authors and giving them some perks out there. So we're still working out the details, but we're going to tell you all about it in a week or two here. So again, keep an eye on your email inbox. Make sure that Drafted Digital is recognized so that our emails don't fall in your junk folder, because we want you guys to participate in this, because DDD Print makes it so easy for you to publish those print-on-demand books, just as easy as it is to publish an ebook. So keep aware of that. It's going to be a summer-long DDD Print celebration. All right. I want to make sure I didn't forget that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not like you've been working on it for a long time or anything, Jim.
Oh my! Can you see that? I've got my. You know how you can, when you go on Zoom or StreamYard, and I've got that appearance thing. You can make your appearance look better. I've got that sucker cranked all the way to the right, man. To get rid of these bags under my eyes. And next, I have to pay for it at the next level. Then it just puts somebody else's face on my face. So that's the next tier. All right. Let's see. Hey, Megan and Mark, can any author participate in these Drafted Digital promotions, or do you have to be a super high-end mucky-muck author with 10 books to their credit or more? Or can a first-time author participate in a promo? I know it probably is more difficult, but are the Drafted Digital promotions open to anybody?
Yes, they are. And I want you to join the list. I need more people on the list so that then I can have more books to choose from. So do make sure you fill out that form, get on the list, and switch it up with what you submit to me. If you're recognizing that book one of this particular series is not getting any type of attention, try a different series, try a different book, try a different price point, try some different things. But I make sure, as part of my strategy, to deliberately not only focus on the top. They're already at the top. They already have a nice piece of pie, and we continue to support them. But then I start looking at, okay, well, what's a little bit further down the list? And I do that on purpose.
I hope that our viewers here are getting a takeaway from you here, Megan. Now we are trying to bubble up some of these emerging authors here who maybe don't have that visibility. But Megan, what about authors who are kind of shy? Maybe they're a little bit introverted, and maybe they're worried that they're just bugging you, by providing too much information or going for promotion after promotion after promotion. What do you say to them?
You're not bugging me. You are bugging me if you're being nasty or if you're being unkind to me or my colleagues. Then we have a different problem. As long as you're leading with kindness, I'm a people pleaser. I'm going to do what I can to help you, because I want you to succeed as well. I'm an author. I know what that feels like to feel unsupported. I want to help you. I don't want to help you if you're being nasty. So nice leads to, again, I'm a people pleaser. So I don't have a problem with trying to help you if you're genuinely trying to help yourself.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Let's see. Good answer. And I think I am just kind of going through my last questions. I think we've got it, you guys. I think we've gone through the entire list here and done it all. Whew, that felt like a sprint. All right. Well,
Felt like I was flying down a highway or something during the whole thing. We're just rushing through everything.
Something like
You're
that.
right. Looks like you guys are parked now. Did Steve get pulled over, or are you guys actually parked?
Yeah, no, he just got a ticket from Royal Canadian Mounted Police. No, where I stopped at a
On the
Tesla
horses?
Charger.
Like, you guys?
So we're getting a charge here.
Nice. I noticed at one point that there was a bridge going by over your head, and nice little sky roof there.
Yeah, and in and out internet, which is just always fun when you're on the highway, right?
It adds to the excitement. Mark and Steve, next time we do this, I want Steve like driving a motorcycle and you on the back, Mark, that kind of
holding on.
yeah. Holding on for dear life.
Fair enough.
Hey, thank you both. Thank you, Steve, for driving. Thank you, Mark, for participating, even though you're en route. Megan, always love having you on these episodes to go through this kind of stuff with me. To our viewers out there, you guys, thanks for showing up week in and week out and engaging with us and asking the great questions and providing the comments. A lot of new names out there, so we really appreciate you joining. And for those of you who are joining us, week after week after week, thank you guys. We really, really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this show, can you do us a favor and share it with some of your author friends and subscribe to the channel, because that helps us come up with new topics and invite new guests to join us on subsequent episodes. Can't talk. And be sure to bookmark dddlive.com, because if you bookmark that page, then you can see who next week's guest is going to be and what the topic is going to be. And then finally, if you're new to the self-publishing world, you can sign up for a free Drafted Digital account simply by going to draft2digital.com. Once again, thank you to my esteemed colleagues here for joining me today. If you guys want to hang out in the green room, there are some snacks and drinks back there for everybody else. We will see you here, same time, same place next week. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate you.
Ebooks are great, but there's just something about having your words in print. Something you can hold in your hands, put on a shelf, sign for a reader. That's why we created DDD Print, a print-on-demand service that was built for you. We have free, beautiful templates to give your book a pro look, and we can even convert your ebook cover into a full wraparound cover for print. So many options for you and your books. And you can get started right now at draftedigital.com.